you can listen to me. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know so that we can continue with this thing. The class is live. And but the problem is I cannot see your comments. I think there is some issue with technicalities. But if some of you can confirm by typing, I'll be glad. Okay. So we are going to talk about this question which was asked in 2019. And as the comment section is not working, you'll have to bear with this thing. I'll take the lecture. Okay, so Sazil has just confirmed that everything is okay. But the only problem is I cannot see your comments today. So maybe I'll have to take the call and teach you like this only. But today we are taking this question. Give me a minute. We'll be talking about this question. Yesterday, many of you had messaged me after the webinar that you attended that you want to learn how to write answers, how to deal with the aspect of some of the answer writing. So I decided to take few questions so that you can understand, you can learn the art of answer writing. And that's great that many of you have confirmed. You can see me, but of course I cannot see your comments. So this is an issue today, but still we'll try to manage, okay? And if you'll have any questions, we'll take it tomorrow. So I'll start with this question. The time has come for India and Japan to build a strong contemporary relationship, one involving global and strategic partnership that will have a great significance for Asia and whole world. So this is the question that was asked in 2019. And we'll see how to write an answer for this question. Okay. So we have already discussed. We talked about Japan. We have seen this thing and some of the common things between them. So whenever you have to take a question, you have to ensure that you first understand the question well, and then you address that question. Okay? So, what the question is asking, you have to first focus on the key words. It says the time has come. This in itself is suggesting that the relationship is now going ahead. The time has come for India and Japan to build strong relations. They are into a relationship, and we had seen that they had been into a spatial, strategic, and global relationship. So the question is asking that this relationship can be actually great significance beyond India and Japan. It can affect the whole world, Asia. And the question also wants you to comment. And when this word is used, comment, you have identified the keywords. You already know that this relationship was there. And now you have to comment. When a question is comment, you have freedom to express your views. Okay? This comment gives you the freedom to use your views. So you can choose to write in favor of the thing, or you can choose to write against the thing, this relationship. Or you can choose to write about both the things, balancing the issue, the relationship between India and Japan. So, if you have to write this question, now you have to choose an introduction that gives the indication what needs to be done. Okay? You need to write an introduction that will give an idea that what the relationship is all about. So, a very simple statement, like I always say, you have to start with a very, very simple statement which can define the relationship. And here you can say that India and Japan have to play an important role in Indo-Pacific region, which can help Asia and world's peace and prosperity. A very simple statement. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Okay? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Simply what you can do, you can write a statement which helps understand the demand of question. The question wants you to talk about India and Japan relationship, which can affect the Asia and whole world. So in this statement, you have addressed this thing. Okay? Now we'll look at what can we do in the body section. And again, I'll repeat the thing that I cannot see your comments today. So if you'll have any questions, then ask it tomorrow maybe. Or the other thing that you can do is like maybe you can inform Career Will about this thing. I had informed them, but still I cannot see your comments. So introduction. Now we'll talk about what we can do in the body. Okay. So what can be the body? You don't need to write these words in your answer. Introduction, body, like. I'm writing these only to help you understand that we are doing something like this. And now we'll be talking about, like I always say, there has to be a connecting statement. So our connecting statement can be like what? Here you'll be writing a connecting statement. India and not India and Japan, because we had started with this thing only. So we'll not do that. We can start with the spatial strategic and global partnership between these two countries are based on many considerations. Okay, so here we have written a connecting statement. Okay, so we'll not be wasting many words, right? We'll directly jump to the question. So we'll start with some of the aspects. Let's start with, like we do, your first aspect that you can talk about is the economic aspect. This is the first aspect. And you have to always remember that we have to show this aspect with respect to Asia and world as well. So how to use the statements, that is more important. You'll be learning this today. Okay, so in economic aspect, we can start with that Japan has invested in India in several sectors which will lead to faster growth. Okay, and now, like, it is the time where you can use that skill, like we talked about, that you can use certain map. So we can show that where Japan has invested. Okay, Japan has invested in India in several sectors which will lead to faster growth. Of course, we are talking now about, so the thing is, try to draw a rough sketch. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, but you must try to ensure that you are drawing some diagram which looks like India. Okay, this will do. It look like India. So now what you'll do, you can show some of the specific places and the investments that Japan has done. We know that Delhi Metro, if you are reading the newspapers or you are following that, you'll know that Delhi Metro was developed by them. They had assisted us. They are also assisting India in developing 1483 kilometers of connectivity between Delhi and Mumbai. Okay, so you'll be mentioning this as well. This is your Delhi Mumbai industrial corridor. So you'll write Delhi Mumbai industrial corridor. And they have also invested, this is your Chennai, and somewhat here we have Bangalore. Okay, so this is the other thing where they have they are investing. This is also the industrial corridor. Okay, so this is industrial corridor. And now you'll talk about some of the developmental assistance that they have in Andaman projects. And these are contemporary things that you must have read in geography. So now you have used the knowledge of geography as well. You know the international relation as well. So now you have confirmed. Now you have done this thing. Now you have done this thing. So what this connectivity project can do? Faster growth of India. But the question is not about India and Japan only, like we said. So there has to be a statement which indicates that this growth of India will actually lead to growth of what? Whole of the Asia and world. Okay? So this development, now you will write this development is attracting global traders to India and Asia and world can look at it as another manufacturing destination. So you have addressed this question. The development of India will ultimately what it will do? It will also attract, it will give opportunity to outside world, some other countries from Asia, some other countries from world to invest in India, because these projects will make connectivity easier, the facilities will be easier. So India and Japan together are helping the world with creating another market. So you have addressed this part in the economic aspect. And plus what you have achieved? You have drawn a diagram as well. And this thing will definitely help you make your answer different from others. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. If some of you might be thinking that you cannot draw diagram like this, so you can simply do what? You can do like this as well. If some of you are not good, you can do like this. Okay? This will also do, but it has to be easy and quick. बहुत टाइम लेके ऐसा बनाने की कोशिश, बहुत ही अच्छा बनाएंगे ऐसा वाला कोई थ्योरी नहीं है. Because the one who is checking your paper will know that not everybody is having geography as their optional. Not everybody is practicing that much. But ऐसा भी बनाएंगे तो चलेगा. GS में it is absolutely fine if you do like this. And okay? So अब हम क्या करेंगे? We have given a good statement. And of course, if some of you are like are good at facts, then you can write some of the facts around it as well, like the investment and all. But I do not encourage mugging up that much information for mains. Even such thing will do. Okay, now we'll move to some other aspect. Because you'll not have much freedom, so we'll be tackling only few aspects and then we'll conclude. Okay? After economic aspect, the other aspect which is important is the defense aspect. Okay? Now here, defense of what? Now, यहां क्या करेंगे? यहां लिखेंगे कि both the countries, India and Japan, have their stakes in Indian Ocean region, comma, that is also significant for trade of एशिया एंड वर्ल्ड. सिंपल स्टेटमेंट्स. हम क्या है कि जो क्वेश्चन ने पूछा है उससे दूर नहीं जाएंगे. हम हर जगह ये दिखाएंगे कि आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग ओनली अबाउट इंडिया एंड जापान, वी आर इंक्लूडिंग एशिया एंड वर्ल्ड एज वेल. ठीक है, सिंपली ये दिखाते रहेंगे. अब यहां क्या हम कर सकते हैं, इफ सम ऑफ यू आर गुड विथ अप्लाइंग, लाइक आई सेड, हमें क्या है कि बहुत अच्छे डायग्राम्स बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन हम रफ डायग्राम्स तो बना सकते हैं. आप भी जानते हैं कि यहां क्या है कि समवेयर हेयर वी हैव जापान, यहां इंडिया है, और यहां क्या है, दिस इज सेकंड बिजिएस्ट ट्रेड रूट. यहां आपका चाइना है. एंड सिक्योरिटी ऑफ दिस रीजन, सिक्योरिटी किसके चाहिए, पायरेसी होती है यहां, पायरेट्स, स्मगलिंग होती है. तो कुछ वर्ड्स यहां आप लिख देंगे तो यूल ऑफ कोर्स सो दैट दिस इज ए जोन वेयर डिफेंस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, एंड दिस इज ए एरिया वेयर चाइनीज इन्फ्लुएंस. अब ये जब आप बना लेंगे तो आपने दिखा दिया सारा यहां प्रॉब्लम एरिया क्या है. और ये बनाने के लिए आपको क्या है कि बहुत डायग्राम अच्छा बनाना आना ऐसा नहीं है. दिस इज सिंपल, कोई भी बना सकता है, राइट मैं ऐसा कुछ नहीं बता रहा हूं जो कि इम्पॉसिबल हो. एवरीबडी कैन डू दिस थिंग. एक बार में आप ये बना सकते हैं. नाउ अब इस ये एरिया आपने दिखा दिया, ट्रेड एशिया और वर्ल्ड के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. अब यहां क्या करना है, यहां एक स्टेटमेंट ऐसा लिखना है जिससे ये पता चले कि दिस एरिया कैन बी सेव्ड बाय जापान एंड इंडिया. इंडिया एंड जापान आर part of Malabar exercise. They can join hands to take on pirates, smugglers, and together they can neutralize, together they can neutralize Chinese threat. And of course Chinese threat is not only to India, it is to Nepal as well. China is disturbing Nepal. It is mediating and investing in some of the issues related with India and Pakistan. So if you talk about Asia, of course Asia is also getting impacted, right? All the borders they are fighting, and India can be an answer to China. So we have covered this aspect as well. And as I cannot see your comments, I'll give you 10 seconds so that at least you can write. I'm not very sure whether some of you had drawn that map. So today we have a bit of problem, but still the most important part is that you can listen to me and you can see the board. That is most important. Okay. So you have talked about two aspects, you have drawn two diagrams, and by this time, if anyone is checking your paper, वो कहे कि next part he'll know that you'll write good. Not many people are doing this. Not many people have such kind of approach of writing an answer, right? So अब इसमें आप क्या है, आप चाहते तो स्कोप क्या है कि कम है, इसलिए मैंने और नहीं बात की है. बट वॉट यू कैन डू, ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन, इफ यू वॉन्ट यू कैन टॉक अबाउट क्वाड, you can talk about 2+2 dialogues. आप इसको भी ऐड कर सकते हैं, but as we always have less time and space in exam hall, so we have to focus on things that directly conveys the message. You can use this thing. एक स्टेटमेंट लिख सकते हैं अगर आपको फ्रीडम हो. अब डिफेंस के बाद हम क्या बात कर सकते हैं? We can talk about energy aspect. Okay, when we were talking about, अब यहां से आप छोटे छोटे स्टेटमेंट लिख के आगे बढ़ेंगे, बिकॉज you'll not have much time and much innovation to do. अब इसमें आप क्या जानते हैं? both countries have signed nuclear deal and India is focusing on renewable energy as well. India dash Japan, instead of is write are focusing on renewable energy. Which can save the world from ill effects of greenhouse gases and climate change. ठीक है, तो यहां आपने एनर्जी में ही दो एस्पेक्ट कवर कर दिए. ऑलवेज अंडरलाइन ए पॉइंट विच कैन हेल्प यू स्कोर. अब इसमें एनर्जी एस्पेक्ट तो है ही, बट यू हैव एड्रेस द क्लाइमेट चेंज एज वेल. मतलब you have already addressed not only 3 aspects, the 4th one was also included, so underline it. Okay, and now we can talk about, let's say we can also speak about the cultural aspect. Cultural aspect. यहां हम क्या लिख सकते हैं कि the messages of Buddha and Buddhism has taught both nations to establish cordial relationship with other countries. So together they can be messengers of peace to the world. Messengers of peace to the world. Now, the world, it of course includes Asia as well. So, you have written as many words as are possible. Okay? And as this statement has comment, up to this point, what we have done, how both countries can, we are commenting that how both countries together can be of great significance to Asia and world, right? Up to this point we have done this thing. And now it is time that we talk about some of the problems as well, right? Some of the things that are related to this thing. Matlab, they can give more. So what we'll do, there are several aspects which needs to be addressed, like, so let's come with something which is important for this region, Asia as well, and world. So needs to be addressed, like the volatile nature of USA. Volatile nature of US. The Chinese aggression to neighbors. Okay, the Chinese aggression to neighbors. The dominance of European powers, the dominance of European powers in global institutions, in global institutions. So ये कैसी चीजें हैं जो अभी तक इन दोनों ने मिलके कुछ नहीं किया है, right? So there are several aspects which needs to be addressed, like the volatile nature of US, Chinese aggression, neighbors, dominance of European powers in global institutions, to mention. Okay? These, इसमें क्या है, India and Japan hasn't collaborated to negate such problematic issues. Okay, we have also given an indication that there are certain areas which are important to whole world. All the issues that we have mentioned, this is important for Asia, this is important for world. Okay, negated, hasn't collaborated to negate such problematic issues which threatens Asia and world's democratic participation in geopolitics. Democratic participation in geopolitics. ओके तो आपने क्या है कि वो भी चीजें बताई जो कि ऑलरेडी थ्रेट है. इंडिया एंड जापान इज नॉट डूइंग मच. और हम अब क्या है ये बता दिए कि दीज आर प्रॉब्लम एरियाज. सो विल कंक्लूड फाइनली दैट देयर इज नीड that India and Japan engage more and emerge as saviors for democracies of Asia and world. Okay, we have finally concluded. So in this way, if you are writing your answer, you have covered many of the aspects. The question wanted you to comment. So you have commented what are positives for the world. You have commented what those both these countries haven't achieved. Okay, so you have given a great idea about the demand of question. You have addressed the demand of question, and this answer has a potential of giving you maximum marks, what is possible, right? So you have to learn this thing. Here what we have done, if we, I hope everybody has noted this thing. Let's have a relook from where we started. What we have done. This is the question. Okay, this is your question that you have addressed. You have the time has come. Okay, हमने इसकी भी बात की. Asia world significance, and you are commenting. We talked about economic aspect, how it can help. We talked about the defense aspect, and we addressed Asia and world. Then we talked about energy aspect along with climate change, and finally we also addressed the problem areas. So finally, note down whoever was who couldn't. Okay, I hope this is like you have understood how to approach a question. And this is very much required. This is very, very much required. Simply reading from the books or maybe notes or reading from anyone, whoever so is, will not help you qualify the exam until and unless you can produce some good answers as per demand of question. So it is important, it is very, very important that you practice good number of questions. You try to write answers which are based on the demand of question. Question को पक्का समझ के आंसर लिखने की कोशिश कीजिए. अगर आप क्वेश्चन बिना समझे हुए लिखेंगे तो दिस थिंग इज गोइंग टू बी रियली डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू. You have to understand the question and then only you should try to write an answer. ठीक है? So quickly 30 more seconds so that you can note it down, the last para. And if some of you have missed some part, definitely you can have a re-look at the video and you can note it down. Now I'll quickly move to one more question so that you'll have idea. So this was a tricky question I took first because a long statement was given and you had to figure out. And we had seen how you can use the diagrams, how you will be using the arguments, how you will be using the connecting statements. We have seen all the aspect of the answer writing. Now I'll take another question from previous year only. That was asked in 2015. And this is the aspect which will help you get selected in exam. सिर्फ किताब खोल के पढ़ते रहेंगे, रट्टा मारेंगे, कहीं से मिल गया आंसर वो वैसा लिख देंगे, ऐसे नहीं होगा. You have to make sure that you are practicing writing the things that you have read. अभी मैंने इसमें जितना भी बताया, whatever thing I have talked about, you know everything, right? बस उसको ऑर्गेनाइज करना. यू हैव टू ऑर्गेनाइज द थिंग्स दैट यू नो एंड यू हैव टू राइट एन आंसर. नाउ वी आर टेकिंग अ क्वेश्चन, इंक्रीजिंग इंटरेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया एंड अफ्रीका, इंक्रीजिंग इंटरेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया इन अफ्रीका, increasing interest of India in Africa has its pros and cons. Has its pros and cons. Okay. Critically examine. Now it says critically examine. Okay. Now you have to understand. It is pretty easy statement, right? अभी ये क्या कह रहा है कि India is taking a lot of interest in Africa. This question appeared in 2015. Okay. This is a question of UPSC. Now this question is asking that the interest that India is showing in Africa has pros and cons. कुछ पॉजिटिव है उसका, कुछ निगेटिव है, and it wants you to critically examine. अब critically examine का मतलब क्या होता है? क्रिटिसाइज करना नहीं होता है. Many people think that critically analyze या examine लिखने का मतलब है you have to write about negative things only. And if you look at this question, already this critically examine word has lost its relevance because इसमें pros और cons पहले ही word use कर लिया गया है. Usually when you write an answer for critically examine or critically analyze, then our policy should be to focus on both the aspects, but will be stressing on negative things more. Okay, the negative part will be stressing more, will be criticizing some of the policies. But this question already यहां तक भी लिख के explain भी लिख देते तो same answer लिखना होता. Okay, so it is a pretty straight question. जहां अच्छा क्या है, बुरा क्या है, एक introduction, एक conclusion, and we are done. So we'll look how you could have approached this answer to score good marks. Okay. This increasing interest of India in Africa, आप सब कुछ पढ़ चुके हैं. We have already discussed Africa. the important nations we had discussed. So हमें क्या करना है, एक affirmative statement से start करना है. What can be our introduction? There can be a general statement. Any relationship comes with some baggage, right? Of course, there are aspects which can be troubling for any of the country. So here, you can use this general statement to start your answer. इसमें आप क्या लिख सकते हैं? Africa, the dark continent, has emerged as land of hopes. And hence, like other countries of world, India is also attracted to it. India is also attracted to it. Okay? हमने रेलेवेंस ऑफ अफ्रीका बता दिया, ठीक है. इसमें हमने ये भी बता दिया कि इंडिया, जो क्वेश्चन कह रहा है कि इंडिया इज एंगेजिंग मोर, क्योंकि वर्ल्ड भी है. अब स्पेसिफिकली मैंने ये वर्ल्ड को यहां क्यों लिखा, ताकि प्रोज वाला एंगल अच्छा कुछ है तभी अट्रैक्टेड है. प्रोज में क्या है, इट इज द लैंड ऑफ होप्स. मैंने आधे पार्ट को एड्रेस कर दिया है इंट्रोडक्शन में ही. नाउ आई विल राइट ए स्टेटमेंट विच विल टॉक अबाउट द कोन्स, सो दैट द एग्जामिनर हु इज चेकिंग योर पेपर, after reading this statement only, he'll know that you are going to address both the aspects, and it is very very much required. ठीक है, तो let's see what can be our next statement. This run to capture the African offerings can lead India to troubled waters. अभी हमने क्या कहा, वहां क्या है कि बहुत सारे होप्स हैं. होप्स मतलब क्या है, हमारा कुछ फायदा होगा उस रिलेशनशिप से, विल बी बेनिफिटिंग फ्रॉम दिस रिलेशनशिप. बट एज होल ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज वांट्स टू टेक दैट बेनिफिट, सो ऑफ कोर्स will be venturing into some area which can be negative as well. तो pros cons की बात हमने यहां कर दी है. This is like 30-35 words में हम हमेशा कोशिश करेंगे कि will introduce maximum 40 words. ठीक है, now you have done this thing, so I'll take some time so that you can note it down as well. And after this, I'm hopeful, after I discuss these two answers, at least you'll understand how to write your answers. Because my purpose is to make sure that you qualify the exam. This is not like completing the syllabus and talking in front of other people कि मुझे ज़्यादा आता है. But the purpose of teaching is to ensure that आप qualify करें. At least I'll be proud to tell people that my student is IAS, they are IPS. Last year, 5 of them made it, so I'm proud about it. And if all of you will make it, if you will make it, I'll be more proud, right? So I want you to learn this skill as well. And this is the thing which will finally lead you to the interviews and of course a top rank as well. So आपने क्या है introduction दे दिया. Now body. अब यहाँ क्या है, we'll talk about the positive part first and then we'll move to the negative aspects. क्योंकि क्वेश्चन को जैसा पूछा गया है वैसा एड्रेस कर देते हैं, चेक होने में इजी होगा, राइट? It will be easy for the one who is checking your paper. So the next statement that we'll write, this new interest, this newfound interest of India in Africa, comes with several advantages. Okay? A simple connecting statement that leads us to our some of the headings that we want to discuss. So, as we know, this is fundamentally always important in any relationship, okay, economic aspect. Until and unless there is a boundary country, like India need not engage with Nepal only for economic aspect. That is, security aspect is more important. Bhutan, of course, they cannot, that small country, they cannot be very much economic beneficial for us. But it is a buffer state, right? China है उधर, तो उसमें हम क्या है कि इकोनॉमिक से स्टार्ट नहीं करेंगे. पर हम अफ्रीका क्यों जा रहे हैं? बट ऑब्वियस है वहां बहुत सारा नेचुरल रिसोर्स है दैट वी वांट. ठीक है, तो विल स्टार्ट विद द इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट. फुल नोट्स मैंने जो आपको पढ़ाया है वो ऐसा ही पढ़ाया है. इफ यू थोड़ा सा ब्रेन अप्लाई करेंगे तो यू कैन यूज दोज नोट्स डायरेक्टली इन योर आंसर एंड यू विल स्कोर रियली गुड मार्क्स. ठीक है, and this is based on the experience that I had with this exam and some of my students who have qualified. ये चीज हमेशा वर्क करती है, नंबर अच्छे आते हैं. ठीक है, तो इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट. नाउ इन ज्योग्राफी ऑफ कोर्स आपने क्या है कि बहुत सारा पढ़ा, वर्ल्ड रीजन्स पढ़ा. सो यू ऑफ कोर्स नो कि अफ्रीका में क्या क्या मिनरल्स हैं, राइट? सो व्हाट we can start with that the relationship with Africa offers India with the opportunity to explore and utilize the natural resources that India needs. ठीक है, we want energy, we want minerals, and Africa is rich. हमने देखा था सुदान, लिबिया, we talked about Horn of Africa. That is a region जहां oil resources है, we want that. So engaging with Africa, of course, offers us with that opportunity. Now what you can do, अफ्रीका बनाना टफ नहीं है, आप क्विकली बना सकते हैं. एनी ऑफ यू, पूरा वर्ल्ड बनाना हो सकता है किसी को टफ लगे, बट अफ्रीका ऑफ कोर्स यू नो कि आप बना सकते हैं. ओके, एंड लाइक आई सेड, इट डजंट हैव टू बी ए परफेक्ट डायग्राम, सिंपली लगना चाहिए अफ्रीका है. ओके, Now you can show some of the areas as well, like you have studied in geography. आप क्या कर सकते हैं? You can show the regions which are of high economic value and India is interested in those areas. So आप diagram वाला aspect भी add कर रहे हैं. Your answer becomes more visible. Okay? तो हमने सबसे पहले, ये तो सबको पता है आप लोगों के, हमने इस एरिया की तो बात ही की थी. ओके, वी हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट सच एरियाज. यहां क्या है? ज्योग्राफी में तो आपने पढ़ाई होगा, मैंने भी बताया था आपको कि यहां ऑयल रिसोर्सेज है दैट इंडिया वांट्स. अभी कंट्री वाइज नहीं बनाएंगे मैप, होल, एंड विल सी दैट क्रूड ऑयल पेट्रोलियम है. ठीक है, यहां पे हमें ये चीजें मिल गई. अब ये वाला जो पार्ट है, ऑफ कोर्स यहां हमें कॉफी मिलती है. दैट ऑफ कोर्स वी कैन प्रोसेस इट, वी हैव सच एक्सपर्टाइज, वी कैन गेट मे बी रोबस्टा, अरबिका एंड द वेराइटीज ऑफ coffee beans from there and will process in India and will sell to the world, right? तो ये हमें फायदा हो सकता है. बाकी क्या है? of course आप ज्योग्राफी पढ़ चुके हैं रीजनल, तो आपको पता है कि यहां हमें डायमंड है and we are the finest workers of diamond, whole of the diamond industry, the refined work is done by India. हम रॉ डायमंड यहां से ले आके क्या कर सकते हैं? दुनिया को बेच सकते हैं, राइट? वैल्यू एडिशन करके हम वर्ल्ड को बेच सकते हैं. बाकी ये जोन जो है, ये वाला, यहां क्या है? वी हैव गोल्ड. तो क्विकली आप क्या कर सकते हैं? आप शो कर सकते हैं सारा एरिया जो इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, मेडागास्कर मैंने बनाया था ताकि यहां कॉफी वाला एरिया दिखा सके. सो दोनों कॉफी के लिए जाने जाते हैं. वी आर गुड एट प्रोसेसिंग दीज, तो हम यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं. अब ये जोन कैसा है? यहां आयरन हो रहा है, ठीक है, यहां कॉटन होता है. सो सम ऑफ दीज वी कैन शो, एंड हमने यहां दिखा दिया कि इंगेज करके हम ये सारी चीजें पा जाएंगे, राइट? अब दूसरा इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट में हमने ये दिखा दिया. दूसरा, हम इसको बनाने के बाद हम क्या करेंगे? विल राइट ए स्टेटमेंट दैट इंडिया कैन प्रोक्योर these resources, and after processing can sell to the vast market of Africa, market of world, of Africa and world. अभी हम क्या कर सकते हैं? वी हैव एक्सपर्टाइज इन टेक्नोलॉजी, तो हम पूरी दुनिया को भी, और अफ्रीका खुद में एक बहुत बड़ा मार्केट है, तो हमने क्या शो कर दिया? अफ्रीका इज अ मार्केट एज वेल फॉर आवर गुड्स. क्लियर? इजी है, जस्ट नोट इट डाउन, नोट डाउन द थिंग्स quickly so that we can complete this question, and we'll move to some of the topics that are important. Answer writing is really very, very important for selection, so I am giving time to it. And most of the students find it difficult to do this thing. And mostly because of paucity of time, even teachers don't teach such aspects because they have to cover the syllabus within given time. But of course, I know that I had faced this problem. It took a lot of effort from me to learn this thing. So I make a point always to teach students answer writing as well whenever I am teaching, be it general studies or even in optional. I do this thing. I always take questions whenever, and a lot of questions whenever I uh, complete any of the topics. So this approach is important so that students don't keep running from post to pillar, or investing money and again on learning some of the skills. Okay. सो यहां तक आपने क्या है, इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट के बारे में लिख दिया है, ठीक है। नॉर्थ अफ्रीका, ऑयल रिसोर्सेज, सब कुछ बता दिया हमने। अब दूसरा क्या इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है, आपको पता है कि डिफेंस, इंडियन ओशियन रीजन में एवरीबडी इज इंटरेस्टेड। डियागो गार्शिया हमने कल देखा था, अभी हमने देखा पायरेसी है, सब कुछ है। तो डिफेंस इज ऑल्सो एन इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट वेयर वी आर इंगेजिंग। ओके, अब डिफेंस एस्पेक्ट, यहां हम क्या लिख सकते हैं, सिंपली स्टार्ट करिए, इंडिया एंड अफ्रीका टुगेदर कैन प्ले a great role in security of the region। अब यहां क्या है कि इतना लिखने के बाद अगेन व्हाट यू कैन डू, आप सिंपली रफ स्केच, अगेन आई ऑलवेज टॉक अबाउट रफ स्केच। आप जानते हैं अफ्रीका बनाना, तो हम पूरा नहीं बनाएंगे। अब हम क्या करेंगे, इसको ऐसे कर देंगे, दिस इज इंडिया, ओके, एंड दिस इज अफ्रीका। यू डोंट नीड टू ड्रॉ फुल डायग्राम्स, ये आपको जानना जरूरी है। मेनी ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स वेस्ट टाइम इन डूइंग सच थिंग, बट यहां क्या है, अब ये एरिया हम क्या करेंगे, बना दिया हमने, वी नो, यहां लिख देंगे ट्रेड, फिर कॉमा पायरेसी। उसके बाद हमने बात की थी, ये कौन सा एरिया है, क्रिसेंट, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट golden crescent and golden triangle we had spoken about। so this is like, this area is for, थोड़ा स्पेस लेके बनाइएगा आप, मैंने ऐसे ही बना दिया है इसमें, ड्रग्स। सो सिक्योरिटी, ड्रग्स, आर्म्स। so this is a zone which needs security, and if these two countries, and also what, China's string of pearls, because you'll not have a lot of time to show everything, but at least figure ऐसा बना के you can show some of the things। if you are quick enough you can draw this string of pearls as well, but mostly it won't be required। छोटा सा डायग्राम जिसने सारा कन्वे कर दिया कि किस किस एस्पेक्ट में कोलैबोरेट करेंगे डिफेंस में, ठीक है। सो वी टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी विद पायरेसी, ट्रेड है, स्ट्रिंग ऑफ पर्ल्स, एंड ऑफ कोर्स ड्रग्स एंड आर्म्स। बोथ दीज एरियाज आर इफेक्टेड बाय दिस। सो यू हैव डन दिस थिंग। एंड वन मोर थिंग, सिक्योरिटी की जब हम बात ही कर रहे हैं, तो इंडिया can take help of Africa to secure permanent seat in United Nations Security Council। okay? तो सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल डिफेंस में हमारा से बढ़ जाएगा। तो अभी हम क्या है, सब अच्छी चीजों की बात कर रहे हैं। सो वी हैव दिस थिंग एज वेल। and these type of representation is only required. whole of Africa, पूरा यूरोप बना दिया, वैसा जरूरी नहीं है. This is more than sufficient. Now what you can do, अब हम किसी और एक एस्पेक्ट पे बात करेंगे, क्योंकि हमें प्रॉज भी बोलना है, कॉन्स भी बोलना है, और हम क्या है कि ऑलरेडी काफी लिख चुके हैं, हमें आधा और लिखना है. ये पूरा अगर आप स्टेटमेंट में लिखोगे तो आप डिफेंस एस्पेक्ट के बाद कुछ और एस्पेक्ट लिख ही नहीं पाओगे. So it is important that this will save you time and makes things pretty easy for the one who is checking. If you try to write all these things, it will take at least 2 paragraphs. ठीक है, तो वैसी गलती नहीं करेंगे. We can also talk about diaspora. Let's talk about the diaspora aspect. Now we'll talk about this aspect, the diaspora, and here we can say that Indian workers can get more economic opportunities in Africa with India's efforts. ठीक है, तो डायस्पोरा इंडियन लोग हर जगह जाते ही हैं काम वाम करने. तो अफ्रीका में 54 कंट्रीज हैं, विल गेट अपॉर्चुनिटी एवरीवेयर. यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में भी है. इफ 54 ऑफ 54 कंट्रीज आर सपोर्टिंग इंडिया तो बहुत हैवी वेट हो गया ना. सो वी विल राइट दीज गुड थिंग्स. हमने क्या है, अच्छी अच्छी बातें लिख दी कि अफ्रीका के साथ जाएंगे तो बहुत सारा फायदा हो रहा है हमें. बट कॉन्स भी पूछा है. So now you'll have to change the course of answer from here. Then now you'll need to change the flow of your answer, and you'll have to assure that you are talking about some of the negative things. But यहां से आप क्या है, change. Let's start with, so all the above arguments favors the engagement, but it comes with some problematic issues. एक कनेक्टिंग स्टेटमेंट, ताकि हम कॉन्स की बात कर सकें. देयर अगर हम इंगेज हो रहे हैं, and engagement with Africa, right? These things are favoring engagement with Africa. But there are problem areas as well. And when I was teaching you about the African continent, did we not talk about the case of Libya? Right? So let's say now the points. फिर से इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट ही, बट नाउ विल नॉट राइट लाइक इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट एंड ऑल. हम क्या करेंगे, अब इसको टर्म डिफरेंट यूज कर लेंगे. इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, ठीक है, अब हम टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट लिखेंगे, सेम सेम टर्म बार बार लिखेंगे तो ऑड लगता है, विल नॉट डू दैट. सो हम जानते हैं कि देयर इज नो पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी, नो पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी in many of African countries that can lead to huge losses. ठीक है. अभी आपने क्या किया, लेट्स से कि अभी आप लीबिया चले गए, आपने प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट जो है जीएन ने, यू कोलैबोरेटेड, यू साइंड ए डील कि आई विल परचेज पेट्रोलियम. द नेक्स्ट टाइम आफ्टर 2-3 months, let's say some terrorist organization captures or LNA captures. Now you will go to LNA and say that we had a deal. They'll deny कि हम तो तब थे ही नहीं, हम नहीं मानेंगे, जाओ. ठीक है. एंड विथ दिस हमने बता दिया कि ये कौन है. अब हम नेक्स्ट पॉइंट क्या लिख सकते हैं, रिलेशन विथ अदर कंट्रीज, अदर कंट्रीज. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट हेडिंग क्या होगा, रिलेशन विथ अदर कंट्रीज. अभी हम जानते हैं कि मेनी ऑफ द कंट्रीज आर इन्वॉल्व इन सम ऑफ द ट्रबल्ड कंट्रीज ऑफ अफ्रीका. सो निगेटिव अभी क्या होगा, द कॉम्पिटिशन for resources can make some of the friendly countries, antagonistic. क्या है, दुश्मनी हो जाएगी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सेम एग्जाम्पल जो मैंने आपको पढ़ाया था, यू कैन इजीली यूज दैट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमने क्या किया था, द केस ऑफ लीबिया, तो वही डायग्राम जैसा मैंने बताया था आपको, सिंपल सा. यहां क्या है कि लीबिया बना दीजिए, यहां आपका इटली, फ्रांस, ओके, इटली फ्रांस है. और उसके बाद आपके कौन कंट्रीज हैं, सऊदी अरेबिया, ठीक है. इन कंट्रीज का इंटरेस्ट है. अब यूएसए, रशिया, अब यहां क्या है, ऑयल रिसोर्सेज हैं. अब इसी बीच में हम भी आ गए, हमें भी तो चाहिए. सो एनी दिस रिसोर्स इज इंपॉर्टेंट, everyone is involved. With one example जो आपने पढ़ा हुआ है, you have given this thing. यहां एक स्टेटमेंट लिख देंगे that Indian support is sought by all nations in Libya. All nations, all mentioned nations, ऊपर जो आपने लिखा है, ठीक है, mentioned by in Libya, and supporting anyone anyone can strain relations with others, can strain relationship with others. ठीक है? So as far good, negatives भी हमने बता दिया. We are presenting the things as well. And if you want, लीबिया का डायग्राम भी आसान है, आप वो भी बना सकते हैं. That is also easy. But this is something like, ये impression देता है कि बच्चे ने खुद सोच के किया होगा. Because these things are not written in books this way. किसी भी बुक में आप ऐसा नहीं देखेंगे. तो this gives an understanding, gives an idea that आपको understanding है, आप सोच समझ के कुछ कर रहे हो, आपने किया है. And now you can also talk about if time permits. It is not necessary. 5 पॉइंट हम ऑलरेडी लिख चुके हैं. 3 प्रॉज, 2 कॉन्स. अगर आपको टाइम परमिट करता है तो यू कैन ऐड चाइना फैक्टर एज वेल. ओके, आप ये भी लिख सकते हैं. बट हमें क्या करना है, अब टाइम में भी परमिट करे नहीं करे, चाइना फैक्टर ऑफ कोर्स, द डेप्थ ट्रैप, इंडियाज रोल, आप उस पर लिख सकते हैं इफ यू वांट. बट इतना लिखने के बाद में लेट्स से कि द टाइम इज नॉट सफिशिएंट, देन यू हैव टू मूव टुवर्ड्स कंक्लूजन. ओके, अब यहां से क्या करेंगे, कंक्लूडिंग स्टेटमेंट लिखेंगे. दो देयर आर chances of some problems in engaging with Africa, but India should engage with, India should, don't use this word engage, again and again same words, we should avoid. India should focus on extending the ties so that issues of climate change, human rights, health and education of Africa can be dealt with. ओके, आप क्या है कि पॉजिटिव्स की बात की आपने, यू हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट निगेटिव्स. नाउ इट इज टाइम दैट यू कंक्लूड. लेकिन कंक्लूजन कैसा होना चाहिए? ओके, कंक्लूजन ऐसा होना चाहिए कि प्रॉब्लम्स हैं बट स्टिल विल बी इंगेजिंग, नॉट ओनली बिकॉज द इशू इज अबाउट मनी एंड मनी, बट अदर इशूज, द ग्रेटर पर्सपेक्टिव of saving the world, like climate change, human rights, health, education. These are having consequence on whole of the world. If other countries exploit all the resources, there will be climate change. And air and climate, water doesn't have any boundaries, nations have. The same polluted air will come to India, it will go to America, and everybody will lose. So, being a responsible country, if India will be engaging, India will be taking care of such things as well. So, we can conclude like this, okay? it will be beneficial. We can easily conclude like this. So I hope you have an idea, you got an idea how to deal with this thing. And now we'll be looking at other topic. Like I said, if time permits, you need to add the China factor as well. Add the China aspect. Okay. So I hope note it down fast so that we can look forward to some of the important topics that are yet to be covered. So not necessarily your answer should contain fancy things. Like if you have read something, some recent event had happened. Like there was India-Africa Forum Summit in 2015 when the question was asked. Then of course in your conclusion that Africa-India Summit has to be there. ठीक है? Africa-India Summit की हम बात करते हैं इस साल. So you have to incorporate some of the things which are new. But अभी क्या है कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं है, so I have not incorporated. But you have to make sure that whatever the current event is, you'll be incorporating that. So let's see if we have addressed the question well or not. Okay. So our question was increasing interest of India in Africa has its pros and cons, and you had to examine that. Okay, critically examine with positive and negatives. So we had seen that there are resources that we want. So of course it was advantageous. Then we looked at the problem of defense. Then we talked about some of the negative aspects. Defense के बाद हमने क्या है कि we talked about some of the negative aspects. So in all, you have learned how to write answers of maybe the same principle goes out to each and every subject. आप किसी भी सब्जेक्ट का आंसर लिख रहे हो, आपके आर्गुमेंट्स के साथ आपके एग्जाम्पल्स होने चाहिए. और अगर आपके एग्जाम्पल्स क्या है कि डायग्राम्स में हो सकते हैं तो दैट विल हेल्प यू मोर. Yesterday also I wanted to teach this thing only in the webinar. And this should be your approach always. Okay? And while teaching, basically this is what I always do, like I said, in my optionals as well. So let's move to some other important aspect that is related to the subject matter. These two questions must have given you a very clear idea how to write answer. And if time permits, I'll definitely try to take some more questions and try to help you with the aspect of answer writing. Now, let me take one more important aspect. We'll be talking about the Indian Ocean region. Let me, this is the last part. If somebody has missed writing some of the part, you can note it down. So now we'll be talking about the Indian Ocean region in India. Already we have discussed this thing. Already in parts we have seen this thing, but still I want to organize this aspect. The reason being so that you must be in a position to address this question when directly a question arises on these aspects. So we'll be taking the Indian Ocean region and we'll try to finish this up, and then we'll move to the last phase of our classes that will be looking at some of the international institutions and we'll be good after that. We'll be done quickly. So we are starting with Indian Ocean region and India's interest in it, how it is important for India. Indian Ocean region and India. So what basically, of course, we have drawn this map again and again. You know what Indian Ocean region is. We have our Africa, okay? Of course, Madagascar. This is your Indian Ocean region. This is Indian Ocean. And we had seen that this area is important, okay? Because we have trade routes here. One of the most important, busiest trade routes of the world passes through the Indian Ocean region. This is important. Almost 80% of the oil trade happens through this, okay? These are trade routes. Okay. So Indian Ocean region is important. It passes through the Strait of Malacca and Bab el Mandeb. Okay. So all the geography you know. World geography, of course, you have covered this thing in GS. And the Strait of Malacca. This is important. Resources, a lot of resources. In this region, we have military bases. A lot many things are important in this area. So Indian Ocean region, we are talking about all the adjoining areas and around Indian Ocean. When I say Indian Ocean region, it also includes the land, the bordering land areas, some of the countries who are nearby. Okay, and this is the region where, of course, drugs and arms are a problem. Golden Triangle and Golden Crescent, both drugs plus arms. Okay. So a lot of stakes are involved in this region. Because of this thing, we do have military base, but we also have problems like piracy, trafficking, conflicts related to exclusive economic zones. So a lot of thing is happening in this region. Okay. And if you have to consider the importance of this region, okay, you'll be amazed to know that as many as 28 countries are part of this region. So of course this region has to be important for the world. I hope everybody has drawn this thing. Just like leveling of the diagrams is always important. Whenever you are drawing a diagram, mention what they are. Some of these leveling is important. Okay. So we'll be looking at some of the aspects for which Indian Ocean is important, this region. Okay. So I hope everybody has made this thing, but it's still half of the place. We'll look at some of the aspect and try to figure out why it is important. The aspects and percentage of world. This is a chart that I am making so that you'll understand how important this area is. If we talk about the GDP of world, okay, so this area has 11% of GDP of the world. If we talk about the world population, the population, if we talk about population, this area has almost 35%. Okay. So a lot of people of the world reside in this area only. Now, let's look at some more aspects to understand why it is important. If we talk about the oil resources, the Indian Ocean region, the Indian Ocean produces almost 17%, 16.8%. So try and remember in approximations, you can write 17%, it won't make much of a difference. But if we talk about oil trade, like I had mentioned, 80%. I'm giving you these facts so that you can utilize at least 2, 3, 4 in some of the questions as need be. Natural gas, (27.9%). You can write it as 28% as well. Note it down. Keep noting down the things. Today I cannot see any of your comments, so the problem is might be some of you could have been missing a few things. But as the lectures are recorded, so I hope you'll easily cover that up. If we talk about iron production, which is an important resource, this region has again 35.5%. The other metal of value is gold. So this also 17.8%. So of course, looking at these facts, you know that this area is very, very important. Okay. If we talk about world's best ports, okay, world's best ports, there are 23. If we talk about the water availability, the fresh water availability, this area alone has 20%. Okay, so though our heading was percentage, but this is not percentage, this is number. Okay, this is number. Out of 100 best ports of the world, 23 are in this region. We have water, world's water 20%. If we talk about land, around it 18% of the land area of the world. So you can see, these facts in itself say that this region is important. Okay, they are important. Sorry. So note it down. Then we'll look at relevance. The facts in itself have given the relevance. Now we'll directly look at importance of Indian Ocean region for India. Will not be investing much time because already some aspect or the other we have already seen. But there can be a direct question on this aspect, so I wanted to take this topic separately. So, importance for India. Importance of Indian Ocean region, IOR, Indian Ocean region for India. The most important aspect, of course, if we look today, the energy resources that this is giving. The Bombay High, most of the shelf area, the continental shelf area is taking care of our energy needs. This is the area where we have petroleum resources. We are establishing windmills around these areas only. So from the perspective of energy, this region is important. And like I said, I always tend to give you the aspects only because whenever there is a question, if you have read these notes properly, then you have to just pick those things which are asked in the question and you can write answers easily. बस language को थोड़ा twist करना होगा, बाकी सब कुछ आपको आएगा. ठीक है? So if we talk about energy aspect, we have petroleum, natural gas, windmills, okay. So this is important. Now the other aspect is of minerals. We are focusing on some of the things from the perspective of economic importance. So of course this Indian Ocean region, like that day also I had talked about that International Seabed Authority had given India rights to extract the minerals. It has given rights to India to explore the mineral resources, basically deep sea mineral resources. So if we talk about these minerals, there are a lot of minerals found. You must have read this thing in your oceanography, oceans in geography. We have polymetallic nodules. We have geolites. Okay. So lot of different, we have oolites as well. Lot of different materials. These are polymetallic nodules are basically small nodules. They form within the sea, and you can directly pick these nodules and process them to get they are found beneath the ocean in concentrated form. Okay. So is the same, the composition of geolite, oolite, polymetallic nodules change, but they are all important minerals, and you need to read about this thing in geography, because any given day you can have a question about these things. Okay. We have talked about energy. Now, it is also important from the perspective of security. If we talk about the security aspect, of course, I have already shown you that the problem of piracy, smuggling, and everything is there. So in security, we have issues like piracy, smuggling, China's string of pearls is being developed in this region only. We had seen while dealing with China's string of pearls. So these all are a threat. And of course, we can also talk about the US policy of pivot to Asia. So what is this pivot to Asia policy? This is basically a term used by Obama. They wanted to rebalancing act in Asian region. They don't want China to become too powerful. So in this policy, what they have done? They have started focusing, shifting their focus from Europe to Asia and Pacific. Okay? What this is? This is rebalancing act या फिर पॉलिसी by Obama administration. Okay? It envisaged to focus more on Asia and Pacific instead of only focusing on Middle East and Europe. So they were economically focusing in this region, but making a political clout was not an agenda. But this pivot to Asia policy, this has led to problem for India, because here India is seen as a check to China. And this policy of USA is the reason that now China is more aggressive towards India. Okay? So pivot to Asia policy of USA. Okay? This is a problem for our security. China is a problem. So all such issues are a security issue that India has to take care of. Now, if we want to focus some other aspect, this area is also the area. Okay? We are talking about security. So this is also the area which is facing the issues like terrorism. So the other issue in this area is terrorism. You talk about Pakistan, you talk about Afghanistan, acts of terrorism are also happening. If we talk about Myanmar, Bangladesh, so all these places are infested by terrorism and terrorist activities as well. So the security issue remains in this area, and India has to deal with all such security aspects. Okay, so after security aspect, this region is also important from the perspective of our some of the food security needs. Okay, so we can talk about food security. Because the land is less, and we have seen that only 18% of the land with around 36% of the population. So this region is stressed by availability of food resources. Okay, so it is holding a lot of population. So here, this Indian Ocean can be a source of food, right? So if we talk about food security, the fisheries, of course, these are important. Your algae, some of these can be an alternative for vegetarians. The non-veg people, of course, sea has a lot to offer. But when it comes to vegetarians, often we say that they do not have a choice and neither they can utilize the food resources available in the sea. But more recently, we have seen there are some of the varieties of algae which can be consumed and they can become an alternative for the vegetarian people as well. Okay? These are also the resources for proteins and some of the minerals that we want. Okay? So, of course, micronutrients. You must have heard of the term hidden hunger. What is hidden hunger? When even if you are getting food, but you are not getting the qualitative food, then you have hidden hunger. The poor people of the world, they eat food, so they are alive. But they do not eat the food which can help them get all the nutrients. So they also suffer from hidden hunger. So whenever, I want you to see this thing as well. Okay? Try to search this word and learn what hidden hunger is. I have already explained. So you should know such terms. This is often whenever you are reading about poverty, you must have heard of this word. Okay? So this ocean can be a good source to take care of not only the requirement of hunger, but also of the hidden hunger. Okay? So खोजिएगा ये क्या है, मैंने आपको बताया है वैसे, but hidden hunger is माल न्यूट्रिशन जिसे हम कहते हैं, कमी होना. खाना तो आप खा रहे हैं बट मिनरल्स नहीं होंगे तो क्या होगा, आप बीमार पड़ जाएंगे. ठीक है? So you can also talk about the blue economy that Modi ji always talks about. You should always talk about blue economy. You can add this aspect in the economic aspect directly. Blue economy. What it is? The ocean-based economy. Utilizing the ocean resources in a sustainable way to benefit economically. Okay, this is your blue economy. So I'm pretty sure that you must have read about such words and terms in economy. So maybe in geography as well, blue economy concept we use. So of course, so this topic, and here you can talk about other aspects like climate change and all. For this also, the impact of climate change is also very much visible in this region, right? Climate change. If we talk about climate change, you must have read in climate chapter in geography that the onset of monsoon and retreat of monsoon, the dates have been changed by IMD in November 2020, right? So seasonal changes were seen because of climate change. So this area is impacted badly. Okay, so we have cyclones, more cyclones in Arabian Sea and severe climatic changes, climatic events, severe climatic events. अभी आप लोग इस साल जो लोग एग्जाम देंगे वो बुक में जो ऑनसेट ऑफ मॉनसून और रिट्रीट ऑफ मॉनसून की डेट्स पुरानी वाली है वो नहीं लिखेंगे. यू मस्ट बी अवेयर दैट द डेट्स हैव बीन चेंज्ड. क्लाइमेट में क्या है कि 20 पहले हम लोग क्या बोलते थे कि 20 तारीख को अंडमान निकोबार में आ जाएगा, 1 जून को इधर आ जाएगा, 15 सितंबर से क्या है कि स्टार्ट हो जाएगा रिट्रीट. दोज डेट्स हैव बीन चेंज्ड. सो इट इज आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि ज्योग्राफी में आपने ये चीजें पढ़ी होंगी, लेकिन अगर नहीं पढ़ी हैं तो पढ़िए, खोज के पढ़िए इसे, because these things have been changed by Indian Meteorological Department in November 2020. तो बुक्स में अपडेट होने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा, बट एज अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ यूपीएससी इट इज योर ड्यूटी to be aware of these things, of the changes that has been made. ठीक है? So this is all about you need to focus in this region. Specifically, if we talk about this region, this is something that you need to focus. Okay? Indian Ocean region hereafter. If some of you are appearing in exam this year only, then Taiwan is important, but we did not deal with Taiwan specifically. So I want to take some time and explain the relationship of India with Taiwan. Will not get into the details, but still I want you to know this. Okay? Because of course some of you will be appearing for mains this time only. IOR, we are done. What I have told you that climate change severity and everything, it is coming in news. You have to write about some of the events, how it is being impacted. If we talk about the Indian Ocean region, there was a report. I must tell you, if you can search this thing, then it will help you. Okay, assessment of impact of climate change on Indian monsoon. Okay, so this is a report which was released, and this is, what is this? This is मतलब क्या है कि it will be part of IPCC report that will be released in 2022. Full report will come in 2022. So whoever will be appearing for mains in 2022, you'll find this question. It is a guarantee. You'll find one question on this thing. And they release some of the part early. Okay? So this is the report which has prompted IMD to change the dates of monsoon. Okay? So go through this thing. Now, we'll be moving to India-Taiwan relations. You have to be very alert when it comes to reading the things, because if something changes in the newspaper and your book has not updated, you must focus on these reports, because UPSC will not accept that you had read from the book. It will simply choose the one that is new, that IMD now has determined. Okay? So now we'll talk about India-Taiwan. And basically, not much to discuss on this, but still, as some of you will be appearing for mains this year only, I want you to know this thing. There can be a small question on this aspect, or maybe they'll connect it with some other thing. So we'll quickly look at this thing, India-Taiwan. So it's been almost 25 years since we had established this relationship, India and Taiwan. 25 years of relationship. We'll be quickly looking at this thing. So I want you to note down the things, whatever I'm telling you. So we have had lot of bilateral agreements in this period. We had seen a lot of economic cooperation. So we'll directly move to some of the aspects that you need to know if the question arises. If we talk about the economic aspect, you must know that we are like economic aspect, investment is happening. Okay. The other aspect is we are cooperating in industrial sector, industrial cooperation. We are cooperating with respect to agriculture, agricultural aspects. Okay. So if some of you are appearing and suddenly arises a question write about India-Taiwan relationship, then you must write that this is something that the bilateral relationship has been established 25 years back. And the economic aspect, if we talk about, we are cooperating with respect to investment, industrial, agricultural, civil aviation. Okay. And bilateral trade agreement was signed in 2018. Bilateral trade agreement. (2018). So basically you need to know some of the things, facts. Taiwan is investing a lot in India. It doesn't have opportunity in some other areas because of the restrictions that China places to it. So we are cooperating in these aspects. Now the other aspect is technology. So this basically Taiwan is a leader in semiconductors and electronic goods. Is leading in electronic goods and semiconductors. Okay, so basically if they are leaders, what India is getting? The hardware and software combination. So it adds to India's software expertise. Okay, so in a way they are like producing good hardware and we are like software power. So this is an area where we are working with each other. Okay, they are also like India and Taiwan are cooperating in bio-friendly technologies. They are technologically experts, so we have biotechnology. Biotechnological cooperation is also happening between these two countries. If we try to talk about some other aspect, we can talk about the cultural aspect. Cultural aspect, of course, is important. People to people connect. We have Buddhist culture. The most important aspect is Buddhist. Both the countries have people who follow this. Buddhism. And of course, we have cultural exchange programs between these two countries. Cultural exchange program that you can write about. In cultural aspect, you can talk about cultural exchange program. You can also talk about the energy aspect. India and Taiwan are cooperating. renewable energy projects. They are technologically advanced, so of course they can help India with this thing. Okay, in cultural aspect, one more aspect that you need to add is traditional medicine. Of India is popular in Taiwan. The traditional medicine of India is popular in Taiwan. Okay. The traditional, one more point in the cultural aspect, the traditional medicine of India is popular in Taiwan. I just want you to note down these aspects because the thing is like, this time if you are appearing, of course you can get a question. And more recently, they have said that they'll be working together in the field of organic farming and all as well. Okay. So this is what you need to know about the ties between these two countries. And COVID-19, of course, healthcare cooperation and all you can write if it appears. Okay. So these are the aspects that you can talk about about this relationship between India and Taiwan. We basically want a good relationship with Taiwan because it helps India to attract many of the investments. So the economic aspect is the most important aspect with any of those countries. But the China factor desists India many a times to get involved too much with it. So this is all that you need to know about this relationship. From tomorrow, maybe we'll look at some other aspects, some of the international institutions which are important. And for today, I think this is enough. And tomorrow we'll start with some of the institutions, and if time permits, definitely. Before we close in, I'll talk about some of the question answers again, so that you can learn this art by the time you have completed your course. And when you'll write mains, you'll achieve for what you are striving. Okay? So I'm ending this class, and most probably I'll talk to the concerned people so that like today, tomorrow this thing doesn't happen. It has to be like we need to interact, and without your messages I cannot do that. So let's hope that tomorrow everything will be fine, and I'll be in a position to see your messages as well. There was some technical glitch today. So have your food, take some rest, and focus on thinking on some of the aspects by taking old questions, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be in a position to write good answers. So stay healthy and blessed. Good afternoon. Thank you.